Look at that, everyone. That is Bitcoin headed for a at least 5% increase in the day. We haven't seen this since May 30th. Retail is out of the market. We know that. The people who are watching this video, you guys are the die-hard fans. You're like me. Even though I don't get many views on my videos at the moment, retail's all left, I still love making videos. I still love talking about crypto. I still love looking at the chart. And you still love watching the videos and you still love getting information. You're the ones who are going to make it. I really believe that when the next bull market comes. So in this video, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about Tether. I'm going to talk about Ethereum, total market cap 1, 2, and 3, and just some altcoins as well. If you like the sound of that, hit the subscribe button, help the channel grow, even though it is a bear market. But let's get started with where Bitcoin is at the moment. So where is Bitcoin? Well, like I said, we are currently headed for at least a 5% close, I reckon, for the 6th of June. What I'm really scared of right off the bat is you can see we're feeling pretty euphoric on the 30th of May, and then we had the double top play out on the 31st of May. So that is basically right here and here. And then we had the reversal. We had this bar just absolutely basically wipe out everything from here, which was a little bit disappointing to see when that sort of stuff happens. Usually when you have a reversal in a bar, there's a very, very high chance the downtrend will continue. So thankfully we didn't have it. We actually had an up bar and then followed by another reversal. So the signs were actually pretty against us that now Bitcoin was going to continue lower, potentially even lower, going to the 28,000K region, which is this area here. But of course we didn't. We got a higher swing, and now, like I said, we're closing in very, very strong, about to make up for that 1st of June down bar. What I'm hoping for is in the coming days, we don't get the reversal, hoping for Bitcoin to put in some higher highs and stay above this 50% target at 29.5K. If it can do that for a continuous period, it's going to look really good. But if we just look at the monthly chart, and let's just zoom out for a second and just remember where we are. I don't know why my trend lines do this and go crazy vertically, but basically what you need to know is that we had the double head and shoulders formation playing out all of last year. We had the downtrend in the start of 2022, continued on. What we're looking for now is basically what we're seeing here. See how the bar, even though the month just is still relatively new for June, see how the bar is looking very, very long with a strong close. This is what signals to you that this is accumulation phase now, because even though the sale is happening, even though they're trying to sell Bitcoin, they're getting bought back up. They're getting bought back up. You can see it. It's getting bought back up. That's how you know when it's accumulation. And that basically means the smart money is just accumulating Bitcoin at the moment. And that's why retail's scared, right? The smart players know this. The smart money knows retail is petrified right now. They're scared to death. You turn on the news, it's dark, it's dreary, the economy, inflation, yada, yada, yada. But look at that. People are still buying Bitcoin. And never forget this, guys. Bitcoin is still the same price it was June of last year. Basically, 1 year ago to this day, Bitcoin was roughly pretty much the same price as it is now. It doesn't really feel like that. The news is so much worse. You're hearing end of the world stuff, right? It's horrible, but Bitcoin is still the same price it was in June of last year. Never forget that. That just goes to show you the strength of it. We had the lunar crash, we had the Russian-Ukrainian invasion, inflation, we had interest rates going up for the first time in decades, and it still is holding up. But that is Bitcoin, and I would argue that you can put Ethereum into that mix as well. So here's Ethereum, and you can see very, very similar to Bitcoin. Price is still the same as it was in June of last year. And that's why Bitcoin and Ethereum are the blue chips. They are the blue chips that are holding on to this range here, despite everything that's happening. And if we have a look at Ethereum on the daily, even though it doesn't look as good as Bitcoin, it still is showing some life and some fight and some accumulation. It's still hovering around this wedge formation that you can see with these horizontal trend lines here playing out, roughly horizontal, and this sort of wedge that's playing out at the moment. We still are waiting for more volume to come into ETH, so you can see the volume is still quite low going from the 4th of June till now, but strong closes, rejected at the 50, rejected at the 50, came back down, but a high, nice clean cut through the 50%, and that 50% coming in at 1,859 US dollars. And I was saying that I'm accumulating some Ethereum at the moment because I think it's a very, very attractive price, and the risk to reward ratio is very, very healthy by my standard. Ethereum is still the same price as it was July last year and June of last year, and you've still got that low from March 2021 playing out at 1,300. So you've got some very, very strong support zones coming in for Ethereum, and I don't see Ethereum really going down past $1,450, which is this blue horizontal line here. So it's just a bit of a macro picture to see where we are. There is still going to be more pain. I don't think this is the end. I think we're still going to get more pain, but this is the first signs that we have had for a long time where it looks like we might be going sideways for a bit. So what's going to happen now, and what typically happens in these phases, is you will see a very, very, very long, drawn out sideways action happening for basically, I think, till probably the end of 2022, unless we get America saying that they're not going to enter a recession at the end of June 30th. Which brings me to the announcement of the US jobs growth expectation unemployment rate steady at 3.6%. So what happened is the US was projected to have a much more lower employment rate than what ended up happening. And because of this, on the weekend announcement, crypto ended up pumping and the shares are pumping as well. The US equities are pumping as well. So the employment rate is still very, very healthy in America. And if you look back at my last market update video, I talked about how the employment rate is the very backbone of how America will deal with the recession. If the employment rate is very healthy in America, it will be a very, very quick recession. Even though the news is going to talk about it and say, oh my God, this is the end of the world and all this sort of crap, it's not going to be. It's going to be a very quick recession because by the next quarter, quarter three, then America will declare it's not in a recession anymore and employment is still healthy, consumption is still high. America will weather through the storm and then we'll get higher prices very slowly and gradually. But we need the good news to accompany it. But it just goes to show you that it's not all dark and dreary. The last thing I want to show is the Bitcoin rainbow chart. And this is basically what you see on Benjamin Cohen's channel, where he talks about his regression as well. It looks pretty much very similar to this. But what I love about this is you can just go on Google and you can just type in Bitcoin rainbow chart and it's right there. And you can see this is actually very, very quite accurate if you really look at it. So basically we had the downtrend or the absolute bottom, which is the dark blue area, which is basically a fire sale, which is labeled basically a fire sale. So I love how he comes up with these names, which was $5,000. Bitcoin was $5,000 in 2020 March during that COVID period. But of course, since then we went very, very high. We didn't get to the absolute maximum bubble territory. That's the dark red. We didn't get there, but we still got to basically around that FOMO infests area. But we managed to go back all the way down. And right now we're between the sort of green area and light blue area, which is the buy region that he's labeled it here, finding support on, sort of that green or resistance right around the blue area, depending on how you want to call it. All you need to know by this rainbow chart is that Bitcoin is basically in a buy zone. Do you want to get more greedy and wait for it to hit 20,000, which is this blue area that everyone's talking about? This is the 200-day moving average. This is the March 2018 support level that I showed you in the chart before. So if we have a look at Bitcoin, okay, if we have a look at Bitcoin, you can see that was the level in 20th of December, 2017, it was 20,000. That's this blue area. So that would basically make it a fire sale. And everyone's calling for Bitcoin to hit this number. If there's one thing I learned, when everyone calls for it, it's probably not going to happen. It's not to say it can't happen. Remember, trading, investing, all this stuff, it's just a game of probability. How sure are you right compared to how sure are you being wrong? What are you willing to risk? What are you willing to gain? That's all it is at the end of the day. People want to get as much information as possible and think they're always right, always wrong, whatever it may be. It's a game of probabilities at the end of the day. And in my experience, when everyone thinks they've got the same probability, the market knows that and it doesn't happen. My experience anyway, but like I said, it might not happen. But before I get into some altcoins, I want to quickly talk about Tether. If you need any more confirmation that Tether is basically a very, very good chart to look at, you can just see crypto is growing at a very nice pace, because even though we've had bear markets and we've had bull markets, Tether continues to grow, showing that Bitcoin and crypto is still getting widely adopted by everyone. So if anyone thinks, oh my God, this is the end of crypto, it's not going to happen anymore, the gains aren't here anymore, they are still here. Very much so. We're just going between this line. So this is the USDT market dominance. So you want the inverse, right? If USDT is down, they're putting their money into coins. If USDT is up, that means they're taking their money out of coins and they're putting it into USDT until they see a buying opportunity. And you can see this basically looks almost identical to all the other charts I showed you. But like I said, the inverse. So we've got perfect rejection at the 50, perfect rejection at the 50, perfect rejection on the 50, perfect rejection on the 50 on the 28th of May again. And we're just getting rejected at the 50 a lot. Eventually we came back down. The thing I don't like about this though, is it looks like we will find support at this level here, which is around that, 5.76%, this area here with the horizontal yellow line here. So that will be support. Once we hit there, I think we'll probably get a stop. We'll probably stop running for the time period. So that's about 3% from where it currently is. So don't look for much of a move unless we break this and start going down. I don't think we will, because we have a bit of a bull flag forming here, so not looking too good. So just be wary of that, a bit of a wedge forming on the upside and trading between this range. So eventually it might break through that 50% and start creeping up on that dominance even further. But if we have a look at some coins, I'm going to list pretty much the same coins I listed before, because they've actually done very, very, very well. So the first one was Rune. I talked about Rune in my last video. talking about my favorite altcoins for the month of June. Rune was on that list already for the day. It's 15% up up above its 50%. Be cautious with these ones because they can come down quite quickly. Don't get too greedy with any profits at the moment. 10, 20, 30%, nothing more than 25%. I haven't seen much unless you get extremely lucky. It's not to say it can't happen. Again, it's just a game of probabilities. I just don't see it often enough in this bearish period. AVAX is finally starting to look like it's having some support finally come to it, though. I've drawn my down wedge and it's just not looking the best at the moment. It's so sad seeing what's happened to this crypto. Will it get to an all-time high? Who knows? It's all about the infrastructure. It's all about the community. Who knows? You can't predict where this community is going to be a year from now because there'll be new players in the market. There'll be new on both ends, right? There'll be new projects and there'll be new retail investors and there'll be new smart money. So it's very, very tough to say what's going to be the ones you want to go on a date with in the next bull run. We don't know yet. But again, as a trading opportunity, close to the 50%, see how it goes. Probably get rejected like we did on the 31st of May as well. If we have a look at ADA, this was another coin that I've talked a lot about in my previous video. I was saying it looked very, very strong. And you can see the top came in at 68 cents. That's this area here. And then came down, tested the 50% beautifully. And you can now, and I always talk about this in most of my videos, right? So again, big shout out to Michael and Jason Pezzino who talk about the 50% tool a lot. You can just see how well ADA respected the rule. So you had one opportunity, you had two opportunities, you had three opportunities, you had four opportunities, and basically 5 opportunities to buy ADA perfectly at the 50%. And you would have made already for the day on the 6th of June, 11% so far. Unfortunately, we do have a double top playing out, so I think this move might have exhausted itself unless you want to snag ADA for another 8.5% potentially if it gets there. Not really worth the risk of it going down 12% against you. Will it find support again at the 50%? It's up to you. Again, it's your risk analysis. What are you willing to bet on it? Will it find supporting it again on it, or will it break down like it did here on the 18th of May? Broke down to 50% after finding support on it for 2 days consecutively, came down, rejection, 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 back down, and broke these lows, and started to form a very quick base before bursting above its 50% and staying above there. And this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean by it's just a probability game. You found a very, very strong trend at the 50% and you want to trade with it or against it, short or long position. That's how you want to go about it. The last one I want to cover up is NIA. This is a crypto that has actually bled out quite a bit. We got to the high on the 8th of April, which formed almost close to a double top, a lot of profit taking, came down, found support on the 50% very, very briefly on the 1st of May before crashing down on it on the 12th of May. And that's when we had that big bleed out. But you can see a very, 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 very nice solid trading range here going sideways. So look for NIA to potentially have a good breakout should it break out of these areas, depending on where that's going to be in the upside or the downside. But I love this sort of more horizontal, more straight sort of trends where you can very easily spot the breakout when it happens. So look for resistance at the $6.60 mark. Should it break this trend, find support on it, should be good for a trade. Potentially stop loss underneath the breakout and see how you go. A lot of it is just trying to get the best buying opportunity and ignore it. Play your video games, watch your anime, watch your Netflix, do whatever you got to do, and just put your stop loss in and take your profits, and just the market does its own thing. If you can walk away with profits, you're doing better than most. So I hope this video helped. It's just a very, very quick video just to see the overall market. If you like this sort of videos, give me feedback, leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you to all the loyal viewers who are still watching the content. I hope it's helpful. I continue to read books and invest in myself during these time periods. So I am really, really, really taking this seriously at the moment. I think this is a beautiful time to really just think about your risk analysis, your position sizing, your profit targets, your trends, all this sort of technical analysis, emotional trading, psychology, things like that. This is the best time to start arming yourself with all the knowledge so that when the next bull market comes, you've got all that ready to go and all those profits ready to be taken. There will be another bull market. This bear market's not going to last forever, even though I know it feels like it is. But only for now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only two cryptos I'm willing to actually dollar cost average into. They're still about 170% away from its all-time high. That is a very, very juicy profit that not a lot of other industries can get with that level of certainty, in my opinion. So that's just my overall thoughts on the market. Again, if you like the video, give me a subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment down below if you want me to review an altcoin or if you want me to continue with the market updates. I like either of them. But until then, everyone, stay safe and I will catch you on the next video.